up close, here are all the components. This box here, this is the wheel hub, and we've got the coilover with adjustable camber, and we've got the rear springs with the new shocks, and we've got the control arms, adjustable control arms and whatnot, all the whole kit. This is the sway bar for the front and the sway bar for the rear as well. Now let's go in the car. What I want to show here is the gap that we have here, assuming 3 fingers are there. All right, assuming 3 fingers or barely 3, somewhere in there. And at the rear, very big gap actually at the rear, like that. Okay, so let's jack up the car and let's get working. Okay, let's say about 29 and 3/4, and in front we've got 26. Yeah, exactly 26. So yes, 26 and 1/8. All right, we have the rotor out. Another bolt. We are going to apply the same process. T40 at the top and then 21 pass through at the bottom, and you unscrew that. There is also a speed sensor that you have to remove. Follow the lines, and there is a screw or a bolt, screw or bolt. Use T30 to remove that right at inside here. That's why you have to remove. Right, we're going to remove this bolt that holds this shock, and use socket 19. That's what you're going to use to remove that. Remove everything from the top because we're replacing everything anyway. So to make it easier for me, I am going to open the top. All right, this one's out, and we really have to push it down. bolt right there. That's what we're going to remove. And there is another one on this side as well, where I am passing this plier. There is a 13mm bolt. There is a 13mm bolt and another 13mm bolt over there. Those are the two bolts we're going to remove on the driver side, and the same on the passenger side as well. All right, I removed the two bolts. Now I will do the same process at the other side as well. What I'm doing right now is to set up this support bar so that I can mount it into the engine and lift up the engine so that we can lower the subframe and remove the sway bar. All right, I'll take the mount and pass it here, and you want to make sure it sits exactly on here like this. That sits about right. On N20, the engine mount is right there. That is where we're going to put this guy here. It's going to go right in that engine mount holder right there. Right, it's time to remove the sway bar, and there is no other way other than you have to mount your engine to this support bar, and you also need this engine hook. I custom made this engine hook because the one that I ordered, it's taking longer to come, and it's going to rain in the next day or so. I don't have time to wait. The car is outside. I have to finish this job as quick as possible. So once you have this, mount the engine, tighten this. I also have a link in the description so that you don't have to do the custom one and you can quickly get the one that's pre-made for you. But the custom made only cost me about 10 bucks, but the pre-made, I don't know how much is it. Check the link in the description. Make sure you put a washer first, and you have this one, and pass it along like this. All right, okay, this is set. Now it's time to go underneath the car. Well, folks, I don't know if I have to say I got it or things went wrong and sideways. However, the subframe is down. This is the front subframe, and one thing I'm worried about, I don't know how much of the steering rack that is damaged over there. That's where what I am most concerned about. I don't know if it is out of its way or if it's still there. That's what I'm concerned about. But this came out really bad. It's dropped really bad, especially on the driver side. So basically what happens is I removed this bolt. There is a bolt here, and that bolt is something like this. This is the bolt that holds this subframe, the front subframe, and there is another bolt right here, this long one, which holds the subframe here. Unfortunately, you have to remove that, and of course, these subframes over here. and it's the same thing on the driver side and the passenger side. You take out these bolts as I mentioned earlier before, and we have our steering wheel rack, which I now don't know if I damaged it or not, so we'll see what happens next. And of course the mount, the motor mount, you also have to take out the motor mount. There you can see that, this one here, the motor mount, you have to remove that. And most likely you want to use a better jack, because this jack is really trash. It's no good to be used for this kind of job. So I tried to use that jack, it's not good. So the good jack you want to use is the one that you can manually adjust, not the hydraulic one but the manual one, so it's easier for you to drop, because you don't need to drop this subframe this bad. So that's what happened. So what I will do, I have to secure, because some of the stuff are tensioned, like this one, it's too tensioned, likely didn't cut off. This one over here, it's also have a lot of tension, which I don't want it, and I don't want to damage it. I have to take care of this real quick and fix out all those things. All right, I've got two jacks which holds the subframe. And just a recap, in order to do this properly, put these two jacks first so that you don't run into an issue that I ran into. And for the bolts, these are the only bolts you literally want to remove. This one here, there are two bolts. There is one here, there is another one here. You don't have to remove this one, you only have to remove this one, because this is the one that holds the subframe. So this is for F22 to 28i 2015 model. So every other video I've seen online, no one teaches you how to do this properly. So this is how you do it properly. Remove these bolts, and on the driver side you do the same as well. Make sure you have everything on a jack stand. You will remove these two bolts. There is one here and one on the driver side as well, and there is another one right here in the middle. This is the one you also have to remove. And of course the motor mount, you also have to remove the motor mount bolt, which I showed you earlier. And you also want to remove this one. However, for this one is up to you, but you may create a lot of tension if you don't remove this one. If you have these two jacks properly set, like you really have to go higher as what I have here, you have to go very high. You may not want to remove this one, but because I already removed this one, I was figuring out how to do it, and this is the only way I was able to take out this subframe. After that, you pretty much don't really have to do a lot. But another thing, you notice that I removed this charge pipe. The reason I removed the charge pipe, not the charge pipe but the boost pipe, is to give access for me to work here. You do the same, you remove the charge pipe on that side, you remove the boost pipe on this side and the charge pipe on the driver side. Once that is out, your sway bar should be free to be removed. While I was here, I went ahead and cleaned up this space because it was just too dirty. I prefer working on a clean environment. Alright, I am now removing the sway bar. Alright, and this is the sway bar is out. Here is a side-by-side comparison between the OEM and the aftermarket. The aftermarket, you can see, is already beefy. Side-by-side comparison, we can see that it has the same length. However, the diameter is beefy. We see that the aftermarket, the red one, is beefier compared to the black one. looking really nice, really tight. And this one is already preset. It is moving, but I see that it's preset already. Probably I'll also have to tighten this one is a little bit loose, but I have to tighten that so that I know exactly where to mark those bushing. And it comes with a polyether bushings as well that we're going to put there. So this is what you get on this set, and all of these are control arms for the rear. On the front, I'm not changing the control arms; they are okay. I am going to use the OEM ones, but this is the rear set, which I'll show you as well how to do that. So stay tuned on how to install the rear one. But today we are taking care of the front suspension first. All right, I am placing these bushings, and this one I'm placing this bushing. I noticed that this one comes with these I would say stoppers, and these stoppers, they are prone to, I would say, to fail, because the way I see them, I don't think I would want to go with it. However, what I will do is I'll still going to use it, and I'll push it inward. I'll push them inward so that this cannot move in between, because when I put this, this one will be secure on the frame. It won't go past the frame, but it may move this side. However, using these stoppers will help this not to move on this side. But we'll see how we get there. All right, so I'll go ahead and place this here, just like that. And I'll go ahead and place this here. So I need to move this side and place this right in the middle, like that. Good. And I want to make sure they are on the same place, right? Like on the same, right here. So I need to take this one and move it a little bit forward, or inward if not forward. Alright, the servo is mounted. Now go ahead and secure it. And from this side too, you can see all the way where it sits. Very cool. And I love the red color too, going with the theme. Alright, I think it's day 4 since I started this project. I am not working every like full day. I'm working like half day and stuff like that. Pretty much every other day I've been working just half day, but today I am going full on for the whole night. I don't know up until what time I'm going to finish, but I wanted to show you this thing that I'm holding. While I'm here, I went ahead and upgraded the wheel hub as well. I have a video which explains how to install the wheel hub. It's pretty much the same process. The only difference is that I took this out, I cleaned it out, looks like new. I cleaned it out and installed the wheel hub and talked it to the specs. Next, what I'm going to do, I am going to remove this motor mount. I am done with the motor mount. I already fastened everything underneath, or tightened everything underneath the motor, the subframe and whatnot. Everything is ready and set. Now I will go ahead and install the shocks. This is done. I did both actually. Just in case you're wondering, I did both this one and this one as well. So left and right. You can see there is R written on it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there is an R written on it, and there is L written on this one, which indicates left. I'm about to mount this one. I've left it at the factory camber, and we're going to fix the camber later. But I left it at factory camber, and it does look a little bit off. No, I think we're good. This is neutral. Last night I did quite a lot. I waked up until 4 a.m. I mounted the spring, I mounted the new strut as well, and the sway bar, and a couple of control arms as well, which I said you can see there. Everything is mounted, as well as the lower one. Very good, but I still have to fix something that happened last night. I messed up with the thread for this upper control arm, this one here. I messed it up, so I have to recreate the threads on here. I have to recreate the threads. I messed up the threads for some reason. Whatever happens, it is what it is. So that's that. But for now, I will go on the other side. But for now, I am going to tackle this side, finish up this side, and make sure I don't make the mistake as what I did on the other side, and close off for this part. Alright folks, and here is the result. You can see yourself. First thing first, you can see my fingers can't even fit anymore here. If you look at previously, there was a huge gap, but you can see everything is flashed out. And the same thing with here as well, like just because I turn it, but my finger can barely, only 3 fingers can barely go in there. And man, this is the setup. I'm very happy. Sorry I didn't wash the car, but you can see everything is flashed out and it's working just perfectly. The car handles better than it was stock. I've been driving this for almost 3 months now, and that's why I waited in order to give this final review after using this car for a couple of months. Overall, I have to say I'll give this like 90% satisfaction. Reason being is the rear setup. I had some issues with the rear setup. Remember when I was installing, I mentioned that I messed up the thread, where that came out with a huge cost actually, and it cost me the rear coilover to be replaced. So I had to order the new coilover because the sway bar that I had was too short. So I replaced back the OEM sway bar for the rear, and man, I regret it. When I had that one, it was stiff and the handling was even much better than what I have currently. But overall, even though I did put the original, the OEM sway bar, I can still see a huge improvement on the current setup that I am running. I think I've put on it's around like, I don't know, 3, 5, 10,000 miles since I've been driving this. I really don't know. I could be less, could be more, but the current handling is just way better now. I don't know what to say. I know a lot of people have a lot of controversy on buying cheap stuff, but again, this one is okay with the budget that I had, and I've been running it for 3 months. The only thing, as I mentioned, the only thing I had an issue with the rear one, and the rear is not really about the coilover, but it's more about the control arms and the sway bar, which caused the issue with the rear. But other than that, the coilover themselves, they are solid. I really like the ride quality. They're not too stiff. They're not also too cheap. When I say too cheap, like you can still feel better handling, and also when it jumps on the pothole, you don't really feel that stiffness. The car still controls the bumps and stuff, but again, when you lower your car, you do feel bumps when you go over the bumps and stuff like that. But other than that, overall, it's solid, and I'm kind of just liking it. You can see how it's lowered. If you look at the previous setup and the current setup, you can really see the difference. Now, one thing I want to mention about the setup that I went with, especially with the control arms, these control arms are adjustable control arms, so you can easily change the camber if you want to go stance or negative camber. This is what you would want to use if you want to use this kind of setup. If you look at it right now, the car is I have a little bit of a negative camber, just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit flashed out. If you look at here, it's a little bit flashed out this way, and that also improves on the handling and when I turn and when I do the cornering. Unfortunately, there isn't anyone who will help me to film their handling and whatnot, because I also don't have the mount, so unfortunately I won't be able to capture all of that. But maybe sometimes if I got someone to help me, I can get those better shots. Alright folks, before closing this, I just want to give you my thoughts on what I learned during this process. For with any other project, you always have to do your research. For me, it takes me a while in order to really click and buy something. And when I buy something, I always want to make sure, although it's cheap, but I don't cheap out to the point where I'm going to degrade the performance of my car, especially when it comes to things like handling and every other stuff. Yes, I save, but I don't save to damage the car. So that's the philosophy, and that's why when I make videos, I want to make sure my videos someone can replicate and someone can buy the same thing that I bought. Now, when it's come to the coilovers that I bought, this coilover, I got them on Amazon. It's up to you. You can put on the comments, you can say whatever you want, but I bought those ones and I've been running them. Here you are, this is the car. I am pushing the car is stiff. The car is not just jumping all over. You can see that here. I am really trying to move the car, and the car is not just moving compared to the OEM one, because with the OEM one, move the car will just start bouncing up and down. And on the other note is on the sway bar. The front sway bar is spot on. It's really spot on. It's winning over the problem. The rear sway bar is the one that I had a problem. It's shorter, and because it was shorter, it's damaged the coilover for the rear. But other than that, everything else, and it was only on one side, not on both sides, because the both side, the space that I have on the other side, I think this side is okay, but because it was too short, and I damaged this side, and I had to replace that one. I had to buy another rear set and replace that one. But other than that, everything is perfect. And I think I'll add this here. I started rambling, and I started talking to myself. Enjoyed everything about the holidays, and take care. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.